Loneliness. We all know the word, yet we rarely speak about the depth behind it, the quiet, persistent ache hidden beneath the surface of everyday life. I'm not referring to the loneliness of solitude, of empty rooms or silent spaces. I mean the subtler loneliness that emerges in crowded places, the paradoxical isolation that you feel surrounded by people you know and love. It's a loneliness that arrives quietly, unnoticed, settling softly into the corners of your being, gently suggesting something isn't quite right, something is missing. Have you ever stood in the middle of a bustling party, lights twinkling around you, laughter resonating through the air, yet felt utterly invisible? Have you ever sat at a family dinner table surrounded by familiar faces, people who genuinely love you, people who've known you your entire life, and still experienced a strange, silent emptiness within? It's as if an invisible wall separates you from truly connecting, a subtle distance you cannot bridge, no matter how hard you try. And in those quiet moments, you silently ask yourself, am I the only one who feels this way? Why am I disconnected when everything around me seems perfectly aligned? We rarely talk about this kind of loneliness because it feels complicated, uncomfortable, even shameful. Society teaches us that loneliness means something's wrong, something's missing externally. But what if this loneliness isn't about other people at all? What if it's something deeper, something internal, something quietly signaling that you've drifted away from yourself, like a beautifully tuned instrument slowly slipping out of harmony? Your life might feel subtly discordant, not because of what's around you, but because something essential inside remains unseen, unheard, forgotten. Think about the time you caught your reflection unexpectedly, in a shop window or a passing car's mirror, and briefly struggled to recognize yourself. Who was that person looking back at you? Did you wonder quietly, even for a moment, if you've become someone different from who you thought you'd be? It wasn't a dramatic shift. It rarely is. Rather, it's subtle, gradual, almost imperceptible, like a quiet erosion slowly reshaping a landscape you once knew intimately. Imagine yourself on a beach you've visited since childhood. Each wave, gentle and unnoticed, gradually alters the shoreline, moving grains of sand until, years later, the familiar shape you once knew has quietly transformed into something entirely new. You didn't notice it changing at first, until one day you stood on familiar ground, only to realize it wasn't familiar anymore. This is the nature of loneliness we seldom address, the slow realization that the inner landscapes of your being have shifted, leaving you quietly disconnected from the person you once thought you knew deeply, yourself. And maybe this subtle loneliness isn't a punishment, but rather a quiet invitation. Perhaps it's whispering softly that you've been living on autopilot, gently reminding you that there's something vital you've overlooked, your inner voice, your authentic self, your deeper truth. Perhaps this feeling of isolation amidst a crowd isn't about separation from others at all, but separation from something profound within. Let's dive deeper. Consider an artist who paints magnificent pictures, praised by everyone for their beauty and perfection. Crowds gather to admire his work. He receives endless applause, admiration, validation. Yet secretly, quietly, he feels detached. Something crucial is missing. One evening, alone in his studio, he sets aside his canvas, puts down his brush, and simply sits. In the silence, he realizes he has spent his life painting pictures others love, but none that truly speak from the core of his own heart. He has been disconnected, not from praise or success, but from himself. His loneliness wasn't about being unseen by others. It was about never truly seeing himself. What if your loneliness is similar? A gentle signal nudging you towards something you've ignored, something deeper and more personal. What if you haven't truly been lonely because others can't connect with you, but because you haven't fully connected with yourself? Imagine a city at night, vibrant with lights and music, streets pulsing with life, noise everywhere. But hidden within this lively chaos, there's a narrow alleyway, dimly lit, silent, almost invisible. Passers-by rarely notice it, instinctively choosing brighter, louder paths. Yet unknown to everyone, down this quiet alley is an old door, worn and overlooked. Behind it lies a breathtaking secret garden, untouched, peaceful, alive with quiet beauty. To reach it, you must first face the discomfort of silence, the uncertainty of darkness, the fear of being momentarily alone. Your loneliness is this alleyway, subtle, unnoticed, uncomfortable. But it's precisely through embracing this quiet discomfort, through walking the path less chosen, that you discover something extraordinary, a hidden inner sanctuary, a deeper self-awareness, a profound inner peace that can never be found in noisy streets or crowded rooms. And so, next time you feel this subtle ache of loneliness rising within, pause. Instead of immediately filling the silence with distraction, ask yourself softly, what is my loneliness trying to show me? What part of myself have I overlooked or forgotten? Feel into these questions gently, patiently. Remember, your loneliness isn't random or cruel, it's purposeful. It's here to gently guide you inward, encouraging you softly to rediscover who you really are. You're not truly disconnected from the world. You've merely drifted slightly away from yourself. You see, this loneliness we rarely speak of isn't a wall, it's a mirror. It asks you not to run away, but to look deeply, to recognize your reflection, to come home to yourself. And when you finally dare to do so, you'll find that your loneliness was never emptiness. It was quiet wisdom, waiting patiently for you to listen, ready to lead you back to the one person you've always needed most, yourself. Have you ever considered that your loneliness isn't a flaw, but rather an essential step toward becoming who you're truly meant to be? What if the quiet ache of feeling disconnected isn't something to escape, but a necessary preparation, gently guiding you toward the person you're becoming? The world around us often portrays solitude as something to be feared. We're taught from childhood to see emptiness as a sign of failure, an indication that something within us needs fixing. But what if that story isn't true? Look closely at nature. Observe the caterpillar retreating into a cocoon, isolated, quiet, wrapped in darkness. It doesn't hide away because it's broken or defective. Rather, it withdraws into solitude because something remarkable is unfolding, something it can't become while out in the open. Perhaps your solitude is a cocoon of sorts. Perhaps it's a quiet, invisible space designed specifically for you to shed outdated versions of yourself, beliefs and roles that no longer fit who you're becoming. It's not comfortable. Transformation rarely is. But maybe, just maybe, discomfort is the quiet, necessary companion on the journey toward your deeper truth. Imagine an artist alone in a dimly lit studio, surrounded by blank canvases. Each evening, he paints for hours, layers upon layers, only to paint over it again the next morning. To outsiders, this might seem futile, wasted time, repeated efforts. Yet the artist knows better. He knows each attempt isn't wasted but necessary. With every layer he adds and every layer he removes, he's not losing, he's gaining clarity. He's inching closer to the masterpiece that resonates deeply within him. Like this artist, your loneliness might be the canvas on which you slowly, patiently uncover your truest self, layer by quiet layer. Have you noticed how we avoid silence, rushing to fill every empty moment with distraction? Why? Perhaps we're secretly afraid of what silence might say about us. Yet silence might be precisely what you need, not as punishment, but as a profound, necessary mirror. What if the quiet space you've avoided holds the reflection of someone you've been longing to meet, your authentic self? Consider the gentle process of a river carving through rock over centuries. It doesn't happen overnight. It requires patience and persistent flow. From the outside, the process looks harsh, relentless, yet the river is simply following its natural path, quietly reshaping the landscape, uncovering hidden beauty previously locked inside stone. Likewise, your solitude gently carves through inner barriers, layers of old identities, external expectations, and outdated stories you've held onto for too long. You are not breaking apart. You're becoming something new, something freer, something profoundly more authentic. And so, ask yourself gently, could your loneliness be less about being left behind and more about finally moving forward? Could your isolation be less about abandonment and more about alignment? Maybe the reason you feel detached from your surroundings is that you're subtly shifting towards a reality no one else can see yet, because it belongs uniquely to you. What if this sense of isolation is actually life's way of quietly guiding you inward, toward truths you must first discover alone? What if the distance you feel from others isn't punishment, but privilege, a gentle reminder that the most important journeys we take in life are always solitary at first? So next time loneliness visits you, rather than rushing to escape, sit quietly with it for a moment. Listen carefully. Remind yourself softly, I'm not broken, I'm becoming. Because within the quiet space of your solitude is a gentle assurance, a quiet knowing. You're exactly where you need to be, slowly, beautifully unfolding into the person only you can become. Deep within loneliness lies a quiet calling. It's not loud. It doesn't shout to be heard above life's noise. Instead, it whispers softly, gently, barely audible at first. It's a whisper that easily slips unnoticed past your awareness, drowned by the rush of daily demands, the constant chatter around you, and the relentless pull of distractions. Yet, when silence finally comes, when the chaos subsides even for a brief moment, you feel it there, waiting patiently. Have you ever noticed that calling? Have you ever paused long enough to ask yourself, what is this quiet voice trying to tell me? Perhaps it comes late at night when you're lying awake, staring at the ceiling, or perhaps it emerges in those rare, unexpected pauses, in line at the supermarket, waiting in traffic, or simply standing quietly by the window, watching rain softly blur the world outside. It's in these fleeting, quiet moments that something profound gently taps at your awareness, whispering softly, there is something deeper, something more real, waiting inside you. This calling doesn't ask you to shut out the world entirely, nor does it demand that you isolate yourself from others. Rather, it softly invites you to return, to reconnect with something you've forgotten, something essential. It's not about withdrawal, but about renewal, a gentle invitation to come home to yourself first, before you try to connect genuinely with the world around you. Consider the ocean for a moment, vast, endless, appearing empty from afar. Standing on the shore, gazing out over its surface, you might see nothing but emptiness, a silent expanse stretching endlessly, mysterious and unsettling. Yet beneath this quiet surface lies a universe brimming with life, vivid coral reefs, countless marine species, hidden depths illuminated by extraordinary creatures who dwell silently in darkness. This too is the essence of your loneliness. On the surface, it feels empty, barren, uncomfortable, but beneath it lies a vast and vibrant inner world, filled with truths, wisdom, and depths you've yet to discover. There was a woman once who traveled to distant lands seeking answers, hoping to find meaning and purpose in places far removed from her own life. She climbed mountains, walked endless paths, sat at the feet of wise teachers. Yet everywhere she went, she felt a subtle restlessness, a quiet dissatisfaction that no journey or teacher could resolve. Then one evening, after years of searching, she found herself sitting alone by a quiet lake, the world around her finally silent. And in that silence, she realized something profound. All her searching had been outward, yet the answer she truly sought had always been inward. Her loneliness was not emptiness, it was an unrecognized invitation, patiently waiting for her to turn inward and rediscover herself. From that moment onward, she understood her journey wasn't over, it had only just begun. Maybe your own loneliness, the one you avoid, fear, or misunderstand, is precisely where your true journey begins. Perhaps it's softly calling you towards forgotten truths, hidden beneath the layers of everyday chaos, buried beneath obligations, distractions, and expectations. Perhaps it quietly encourages you to stop looking outward and start listening inward. So what if you stopped running from your loneliness and started turning toward it? What might you discover if you embraced this silent call rather than feared it? Imagine loneliness as an ancient map, drawn delicately on your heart, carefully guiding you toward hidden paths and forgotten truths. Imagine it as an inner compass, gently pointing you back towards your truest self. The call beneath the silence isn't easy to follow. It demands courage, patience, and a willingness to sit with uncertainty. It asks you to trust something deeper than external validation, deeper than comfort, something authentic and profoundly yours. It gently whispers, you are not truly alone. You've merely forgotten who you really are. You've drifted away from your own heart, your deepest truths. Now, it's time to return. Imagine yourself stepping into a forest, quiet and untouched. At first, it feels unfamiliar, unsettling even. The path ahead is uncertain, obscured by mist and shadow. Yet as you walk deeper into this silence, your eyes slowly adjust, revealing wonders hidden from the hurried glance. Birds singing softly in hidden branches, delicate flowers blooming unnoticed, sunlight gently filtering through leaves. You realize the forest isn't empty or threatening. It's alive, beautiful, patiently waiting for you to slow down and truly see it. This forest is your loneliness, initially intimidating, seemingly empty, yet when you dare to enter it, quietly, courageously, you'll find it's filled with life, wisdom, and answers you've long overlooked. So the next time loneliness quietly approaches you, don't push it away, welcome it gently, sit quietly, listen closely, ask softly, what are you trying to show me? What truth have I forgotten? Where have I drifted from myself? And in that gentle questioning, you'll discover something extraordinary. Your loneliness was never about being empty or lost. It was always about gently guiding you back to yourself, back to the quiet truths you've always known, back to the person you've quietly been longing to meet again. You. The truth is, your loneliness isn't an end, it's a beginning. It isn't something you suffer through or endure forever. Rather, it's a quiet, sacred invitation to step inward, to journey towards something far deeper, far richer, and far more meaningful than anything you've known before. Your loneliness gently beckons you into yourself first, not so you'll remain isolated, but so you can finally, authentically reconnect with the world around you later. Have you ever wondered why some relationships or friendships, no matter how many you form, never seem to fill that quiet, empty space inside you? Why each new connection might feel promising at first, yet gradually fades into quiet dissatisfaction? Perhaps it's because you've been trying to build genuine relationships without first having a genuine relationship with yourself. Imagine standing before a door you've passed countless times, yet never dared open. From outside, it looks ordinary, even dull. You assume you already know what's behind it, and so you move past it again and again. But one day, guided by quiet curiosity or perhaps gentle desperation, you finally pause. You turn the handle, push the door open, and step inside. You expect emptiness, darkness, disappointment, but instead you find something extraordinary waiting for you. Yourself, not the person you've projected outwardly, not the roles or masks you've worn, but your true self, raw, real, vulnerable, beautifully whole. This is exactly what loneliness offers. It is the doorway you've overlooked, quietly inviting you inward. It calls you gently to discover the profound joy and comfort of your own presence, the quiet strength in your own voice, the authentic beauty in your own perspective. Your loneliness doesn't isolate, it prepares. It doesn't close doors, it reveals new ones, hidden within the quiet places you've long ignored. Picture a lantern glowing softly in the darkness. On its own, it illuminates just enough, a small circle of light at your feet. It doesn't reveal your entire journey. It doesn't promise certainty or perfect clarity. It simply offers guidance for your next step. Your loneliness is that lantern. It quietly lights your path inward, toward deeper self-awareness, toward truths you've neglected or forgotten, toward parts of yourself waiting patiently to be recognized. As you trust this gentle glow, taking one careful step at a time, you slowly realize something profound. You've never truly been lost. You've simply been guided quietly toward the person you've always been meant to become. Consider the seed buried in soil, alone, hidden, seemingly forgotten. Beneath the surface, unseen and unknown, something quietly miraculous begins to happen. The seed doesn't resist solitude. It doesn't fight against darkness. Instead, it softly surrenders, allowing its isolation to become fertile ground for new growth. Eventually, it breaks open, sending roots deep into the earth, stretching gently toward the sun, transforming loneliness into life. Just like that seed, your solitude is not permanent. It's preparation. It's not abandonment. It's nourishment. It's the quiet, essential bridge connecting who you've been with, who you're destined to become. And maybe you've experienced moments like this before, brief glimpses of quiet clarity, while watching sunsets alone or during solitary walks at dawn, or in quiet reflections late at night. In these quiet moments, perhaps you felt strangely at peace, deeply content, briefly connected to something far larger than yourself. Those fleeting instances weren't accidents, they were quiet previews, gentle reminders of what loneliness is truly meant to offer, a soft return to wholeness, a homecoming to yourself. Ultimately, this deep, subtle loneliness isn't emptiness, it's openness. It's not absence, it's invitation. It's not isolation, it's preparation. You are exactly where you need to be, feeling exactly what you're meant to feel, learning precisely what you're meant to learn. It's quietly teaching you the invaluable art of loving your own company, trusting your inner wisdom and recognizing your worth independent of anyone else's validation. So, the next time loneliness softly knocks at your door, don't shut it out. Don't push it away in fear or frustration. Instead, gently open the door and invite it inside. Sit quietly with it, listen closely, lean in softly, and ask yourself with gentle curiosity, what are you here to teach me? What beautiful truth have I overlooked? What part of myself is asking quietly to be seen, heard, and loved right now? And in this gentle questioning, you'll discover something extraordinary. Your loneliness was never truly loneliness. It was always quiet guidance, leading you softly yet persistently toward one essential realization, one gentle, powerful truth that you've carried quietly inside all along. You have never truly been alone. You've simply been guided home,